call it a test too. When we was dating, first thing I said, well, I never been into tattoos or anything, but I wanted to honor my former wife. So I said, I'm going to get a tattoo of my former wife here with a crown and say my queen. Her name was Ebony and her name.
Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be reacting to a clip from Dear Future Wifey Podcast, where a man admits to testing his future wife by getting the tattoo of his ex-wife on his body. Yes, he did tell his future wifey before doing it, and our response is going to shock you all. Let me just play the clip and then reactions from other people, and then we'll come back to talk about it.
When we were dating, he was still grieving. When I would come to the house, her pictures and stuff is everywhere. Didn't bother me none.
Why not?
Because I understood, Siobhan, though this is your husband, he still got to go through his process. And how do I look saying, all right, let's put away her memory, I'm here now? That would be so silly. 20 years with this woman, that's not going to just leave you. So I honored her too.
And if he could discard her that quickly, it's setting the precedence of how quickly he'll be able to discard you.
I guess you can call it a test too. When we was dating, first thing I said, well, I never been into tattoos or anything, but I wanted to honor my former wife. So I said, I'm going to get a tattoo of my former wife here with a crown and say my queen. Her name was Ebony and her name. I said, how would you feel about that? Because you would have to wake up to that every day, seeing it. And psychologically, for a woman, that's many not going to do that.
No.
I don't care how you've been.
I don't care how anointed, saved, whatever you was. You'd be like, hold on now. That's just too much.
She said, no, you've been with your wife for 22 years. She's like, of course, you honor her. Because I didn't expect that response, really. But it was like a test, like, okay, all right, I can move forward with this.
Did you get a tattoo?
You wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
you wouldn't take it.
And I watched him get one.
She was right on FaceTime. She was coming from preaching at the airport, so in between her layoff. She laid over. She was watching.
I said, I love how you honored her. That made me look at him in a whole nother way. This man is integral. And he didn't take pictures down. The church, I will be coming into it, because remember him and his wife, they pastored. Pictures are down. He didn't take the things down. I didn't force him to do it until he was ready.
How did you know you was ready to take it down?
Well, one, I understand feelings. We relaunched the ministry with us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want her to still keep coming in and seeing that, although she's okay with it.
Yeah.
I understand that, it's time to take that down. I'm still going through my grieving process, which she understood, but I'm not going to keep it there for her to remind you. Because the guy has now given me something new.
There it is.
How can I move to the new if I'm keep trying to hold on to the old?
You better talk.
With every clip that I see of the Dear Future Wifey podcast, I am reminded of one of the many reasons why I denounce Christianity altogether. And it's because I do not like the conditioning of women in Christianity. I don't like it. I don't like how Christianity as a construct romanticizes the struggle and suffering of women, especially when it is in proximity to servicing a man. I can't stand that. I don't like the concept of praising a woman for sacrificing so much and suffering through her husband's antics in a way that he would never suffer through if the shoe were on the other foot. What the hell? If your wife was mourning her husband who just passed, and she came to you and said, babe, I want to get a tattoo of my deceased husband's name on my arm with a crown on top. You mean to tell me you're going to be okay with that?
You won't.
Oh, and I get it. These are extreme examples, but even on smaller scales, I don't like that Christianity does not preach to women self-preservation, worrying about you, not giving so much of yourself to the point of self just depletion. I don't like that isn't a message. I don't like that the message is instead to give in ways that are unhealthy to a man. I don't like it. It's not healthy, and it has Christian women out here thinking that the key to being honored by God is to give this man parts of you that should nobody have. But you know what? I digress.
Only am I looking at the podcast host a little sideways because I feel like he know what he be doing when he be bringing these people on his show. But I'm looking at some of you women sideways because it makes me wonder, like, are we to the point where we will literally do anything to be in a marriage or a relationship? Because I do understand that people grieve differently, right? Like, we all have our ways of coping with grief. But to me, it makes more sense to get past the grieving stage of your ex-husband or ex-wife before we move on to the next phase of being with your next husband or wife. Because you mean to tell me, out of all the ways you could honor your ex-wife, which was the mother of your children, you felt, oh, I'm not into tattoos, but let me get a tattoo to honor her that says my queen, her name, on my shoulder while I'm married. And I'm really looking sideways at this man because his response to why he took the pictures down was because he understands people's feelings. That should have been the thought process before you got that tattoo, though. See, I think we really need to normalize treating people how we want to be treated in these relationships, because I'm willing to bet that he would not be okay with her tattooing her ex-husband's face on her arm and saying, this is my king. This is how I'm going to honor him. Child, make it make sense.
This shouldn't be funny, but it's really crazy. When you know you really love your wife, you've been with her for 22 years, why didn't you finish grieving, you heal, before going into another relationship? If you really loved her as he claimed, you would have waited to grieve and heal before moving on. You could have thought of going to counseling before approaching this woman. I thought when people grieve, they do not even want to be around other people. They just want to be all by themselves so they can mourn the death of their loved ones. He's still grieving, but doesn't mind moving on with another woman. Now, if the case is reversed and this is wifey tells him she wants to get a tattoo of her ex on her own body, is he going to take it? Men cannot take a pinch of what they dish out to women. It's okay if you want to grieve, but you should make sure you've healed properly before going into another relationship, because what this feels like is going to let this new woman know that she is second place in his life. It just means he's going to keep rubbing it in her face that there used to be somebody who owes so much priority in my life. When people make a tattoo on their body, it's usually of someone who is important in their life. You don't just go drawing random people on your body. It must be an image of someone who holds a special place in your heart. Woman accepting feels like desperation to me, because why would you allow a man make you feel like there's someone who was a priority in his life before you came in? And then it's going to remind you every day of your life, because each time you see that tattoo on him, it's going to remind you every day that you're not that important, that someone first had that place in his heart. And this man claims that this is a test and she fell for the test. I don't see why you would accept to want to be a second place holder in a man's life when you can be the all and everything aside God. God is everything, yes, we know. But when we take off God, the absolute supreme, you should be the top priority in his life before the children. If a man chooses to test you in that manner, you should know that you are in for a long ride. No one should make you feel like a second place holder, because once he starts testing you, that test won't stop. Today it's tattoo, tomorrow is going to be another thing. And the most annoying thing about this is, it is possible he didn't even love this his ex-wife while she was alive as much as he's trying to represent her now. It's possible he humiliated her too. It's possible he treated her harshly while she was alive. Here he goes trying to act like she was everything in the world. She meant the whole world to me. I can't live with her. I'm doing this to honor her. And then the woman accepting, that's crazy. To think that these two people are Christians know God's view on this issue. And this also makes me think about how much religion affects relationships. Religion has a way of conditioning women. Aside the society, religion has a way of conditioning women to take and accept anything at all in the name of love. These people are supposed to be Christians who are to look out for each other. But here we see the man using religion to his own advantage. And then the woman is staying because she feels that is what God asked her to do. No, sis, that is not what God asked you to do. Even God says you should love your neighbor as yourself. You cannot give people the love you do not have. If you don't love yourself enough, people would not know how to love you. When you show yourself good love, that is when people will know how to show you love too. I feel like religion has conditioned women to be desperate for marriage. Religion doesn't teach women to love themselves enough. I feel like religion doesn't emphasize that you submitting to a man that doesn't respect you is also idolizing him. What are we taught about idolizing people? We are not supposed to do that. The only person we should worship is God. People now don't mind settling with anything just to have the Mrs. title, just to be married. They don't mind settling with anybody or anything just because they want to have that ring on their finger. They want to be called a wifey. We are taught that for you to stay married, you have to endure this. As long as it's not cheating on you, as long as it's not beating you, you can stay. Any other humiliation can be overlooked. Even if it's cheating on you, you can endure. That is how it is. Men are like that. Religion has really conditioned women to take the bare minimum. People will endure anything, anything, just to be in a relationship. I think self-love needs to be prioritized, taught in schools at this point. Because if roles were switched, if the woman was the one who had his ex-husband and wants to tattoo her ex-husband on her arm, tell me, would the man allow her to do that? He absolutely would not take it. Ladies need to start prioritizing themselves. You don't need anybody making you feel like you are not a priority. These men would not take what they do to women. They will not take it. Choose you. Alright guys, so comment below. Let me know what you think about this. Like this video, subscribe, share the video, all the things. You see a couple of thumbnails. Click on any one that interests you so that you can watch other of my videos. Stay tuned for more videos, and to my returning viewers, thank you for your support always. I love you. Bye. Mwah.